Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you. My name is Jade Alberts. I'm a small business stratus influencer from that loves to share stories, and that's why I started my Telling It Like It Is broadcast. If you have any questions during the broadcast, please put them into the comment section. We will try to address them. If not, we will address them after. And once we start posting to the social media platforms, you can also ask questions for Sherif and I. I'd like to give a big thank you to Rogers Insurance for sponsoring. They take the human approach to insurance and are huge supporters of small businesses. Stay tuned for more deals on how you can get some discounts. Today's Telling It Like It Is guest is Sherif Gemayel from Sharp Insurance. Sherif, how are you today and how you doing?
Good, Jade. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I'm enjoying this November summer and I can't complain.
Great. Yeah, it's a beautiful day out.
I know you were just in Cairo and you're back, so I'm excited to get into it. How was your traveling?
Uh, it's been good. Lots of traveling. It's been a little much lately, but I guess it's kind of the perk of the role. You get to be in a lot of different places, see a lot of different things, meet a lot of different people. So it's kind of nice actually. It was good.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I'll give a quick introduction here. Sherif is an entrepreneur who is passionate about disrupting the traditional ways we do insurance. He uses trends from other industries to help him navigate through uncharted territory, which led him to build one of the most innovative brokerages in Canada, Sharp Insurance. The knowledge and firsthand experience he gleaned from Sharp Insurance inspired him to launch Trufla Technologies, which provides brokers with a complete digital transformation from software to digital marketing. So I guess before we get into the technology, the Trufla side of things, I mean, people were just so excited to hear your story about how you started Sharp Insurance and especially from where. So please share that with us.
Sure. So yeah, my background actually isn't in the insurance industry. My first foray into the industry was starting Sharp. 2009, I was working oil and gas. I was working oil and gas sales, and wasn't the greatest time for that industry. But my business partner, who started the company with me, he was working at a brokerage at the time, and also my best friend. So I'd visit him quite often at the brokerage he was working at, and one day I asked, kind of, what do you guys do to grow your business? And he basically said, well, we kind of wait for the phone to ring. And as a sales guy, that didn't sit well with me. So we did a little experiment, and it was a cold calling experiment that was that went quite successfully. Ended up writing the account. And so I thought, man, this insurance thing is actually kind of easy. I was wrong. It wasn't quite that easy, but that was kind of the start of how we, kind of how I stumbled into insurance, and from there we started Sharp Insurance. And actually, Sharp is a derivative of our name, so it's Sherif, and his name is Harp, and that's how we got Sharp. So it was actually nothing fancy. We just thought we'd throw our names together into what is now Sharp. So yeah, that's how we started. He owned, his family owns a restaurant, which is still in operation, which is the best samosas out there. That's my plug, called the Samosa Factory. And we decided we're going to start the office out of there. So, humble beginnings. We were on the second floor of the restaurant, and, you kind of had to come through the restaurant and through the kitchen and up the stairs to get to us. Of course, people that came to see us would question whether we were a legit operation or not. But the good thing was that they always walked away with a bag of samosas with every insurance policy that they bought. So there were some fringe benefits. And that's how we started. There was two of us that started. We're now 80 employees on the Sharp Insurance side. About 80 employees on the Trufla side, and still growing. So it's great.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great story. I mean, I'm sure you probably comped a few samosas too to get some business, I would imagine.
Yes, we did. A lot of.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's such a great startup story and turned into such a success story. Why don't you please share some of the hurdles that you had, starting up your business and growing it, and I guess finding your first office and getting out of the Samosa shop.
So starting any business is not easy. And I mean, I was working oil and gas before. Harp was previously working his job at the brokerage, and we kind of just left it all to start. There was really no certainty. We kind of rolled the dice because we did start from scratch. So it wasn't like we acquired a business that had revenue. And there was struggles. We had to make a lot of tough decisions. It's part of the reason why we started at the samosa factory was to save costs, to conserve cash, so that we're not paying a lot on lease and or renting space, and and as we were growing, you kind of expand from there. But all along the way, there's difficult decisions to make, especially when you're growing, because you have to expand, you have to take on additional costs, but there's no certainty in whether you'll keep growing, and how much space do you take, and how much equipment do you buy, and it affects your cash flow and your income. It's the constant struggle, and yes, the struggle is real for entrepreneurs. It's a lot more challenging than people think it is, but equally as rewarding. So.
No, absolutely. I hear that. I hear that a lot from the people I interview, and even myself from starting a company from scratch too. There are a lot of ups and downs, a lot of downs at the beginning, but I mean, it is rewarding in the end. That's for sure. Now, I've talked to a couple people that have sold their business. Now, sold part of the Sharp insurance to Rogers Insurance, and I haven't talked to anybody about that. So, how has that partnership mutually benefited each other?
It's been a great partnership. I mean, we kind of recognized early on, there was an expertise that was needed at the table. Rogers being such a well-respected, well-run brokerage, there was a lot of experience that they had. We were looking at doing things a little different. We were kind of taking the digital and technological approach to the industry, which was something that was unique to them. So there was an interest there. And on the other side, we were still a small budding brokerage that needed a lot of experience. And it was recognizing early on that we can't just go at it on our own. Success is not it's not a one-man show or a two-man show. There's a lot more involved. So Sharp's growth kind of went like this to this when Rogers came in as a partner, because they were able to offer a lot of support for us, especially on a lot of the back-end services, accounting, HR, IT, things that can really bog down a business owner. That kind of gave us the ability to maneuver and grow. So they've been a fantastic partner. It was probably one of the best things we've done.
Oh, no, that's great. I mean, everybody that I personally deal with Rogers, and I love it. I've had the same rep, Karen, for 16 years, and anybody that I've passed their information on to, they've switched. So, I mean, that's a true testament to what type of a company they are.
For sure.
So I just kind of want to switch out, I guess not really switch, but talk about Trufla Technologies a little bit. So I know you say they're entwined. I mean, I guess, how are they entwined, and how did you really start that company to really grow it to how it is today?
So it wasn't actually planned like that. The focus was on the insurance side, but in 2010, Harp and I kind of decided on the back of a napkin that it would be kind of a cool idea to have a mobile app for our customers. We'd never heard of a mobile app for insurance, and at the time the iPhone 3 had just come out and apps were super hot. So we thought, let's just do it. So we built a first mobile app, and it was a very basic app. Then we started taking it a little bit more seriously and building more functionality and real data into it. And what we didn't realize is we actually had built the first mobile app for insurance for brokers or agents in North America. So we kind of took it seriously, and in 2014 we started a subsidiary company called Sharp Mobile Technology, because we were starting to get asked by our competitors or other brokerages to license the technology. So we'd license the technology out to them. We now have brokers from across Canada that license the technology. We support it all, and we don't really look at them as competitors. They're actually our partners, because we're very big supporters of the broker channel in Canada. And then as we were growing Sharp, we had a company that was managing our web assets and doing our digital marketing, which was a company called eMethod, and they were so good at what they did. And we recognized that to be a digital player, that kind of core competence of digital marketing and web development and whatnot had to be a core competence. So we purchased eMethod in 2015. And just earlier this year, we amalgamated the two companies into what is now Trufla. So we offer a full suite of services to insurance brokers across the country, everything from kind of their own branded self-serve mobile apps for their clients, to web dev, digital marketing, digital analytics, intelligence, platforms for distribution of insurance, lots of different things. So that's kind of taken a life of its own now, and we're being recognized as one of the leaders globally for digital technology innovation. We've won contracts now in different countries around the world. We've just won a large contract out of the UK, and it's been great.
Oh, that's amazing. Especially to hear the technology side of it, and everybody's talking about how technology is starting to take a really hold in Calgary. Do you see a lot more technology companies starting up here or moving here?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's definitely changing. It's comforting to see that the economy is becoming more diverse. I think it needs to speed up a little bit more. The city's definitely doing some cool things, but we're kind of proud to say that we're part of that too. Of that part of that diversity. We're doing things here. We're developing technology here that actually has an impact on the insurance industry globally. And that's kind of a cool thing to say. Nobody really expects it out of Calgary.
No, and I think that's what makes it so special and so unique. It's a Calgary owned story, which is awesome. So I guess what's next for Sharp and for Trufla?
Excuse me. We're going down the path where we're going. Sharp is about to go through a little bit of a transformation. There's some challenges right now in the insurance industry as a whole. Some crises that are happening around the world, but we don't really like to succumb to market pressures. We'll kind of try to reinvent ourselves and find different ways to overcome it and grow, which we're kind of fortunate to be in the size we're at, that we have. We've got the ability and we've got some runway to do that. So that's on the Sharp side, and then on the Trufla side, where it's actually one of the biggest growth parts of the kind of the group of companies. Where lots of growth there. We actually have clients that are banging on our doors wanting to do projects, and we're kind of saying, no, we don't. We're being a lot more selective of the projects we take on, which is kind of a cool place to be. The two work very close together. Trufla uses Sharp to incubate a lot of the technologies that we're developing for the insurance industry. So you've got kind of a real life brokerage there to test it out, and vice versa. Sharp uses Trufla to test that technology to grow faster and kind of find new ways to distribute. Share a cool story of how the two kind of work together. We actually did a pilot project that didn't actually end up being so successful for a number of reasons, but it was, the learnings and the tests that we got out of it We actually did a pilot last year with Air Canada, where when a client went on board the flight, Air Canada has Wi-Fi across their fleet, and the cost of the Wi-Fi is about $20 per leg, which for the average consumer is actually kind of pricey. So we thought, well, let's do a test where somebody can go on board the flight and get an insurance quote, and if they get a quote, they get free Wi-Fi for the flight. So you can imagine doing a quote at 35,000 feet is not an easy. It's not an easy task. You know, you're kind of communicating all this data from airplane to ground, and most people don't actually know their insurance when they're on the plane. And we were actually able to do it quite successfully. Now, there were limitations on kind of the bandwidth we ran into issue with, and overall people actually are quite prepared when they're coming on a plane. So not a lot of people are that interested yet in the Wi-Fi. Maybe it's because of the speeds. So the program itself wasn't successful, but it actually moved us forward quite a bit in how fast we could quote someone and issue a policy, because it was such a tough environment to test in. And that's what we do with Sharp and Trufla. So there's a lot of unique things that we're trying to do right now.
Oh, that's a really unique story. That is something that's pretty cool. Well, I guess my last question that I ask everybody, if you had one piece of advice for a small business, an entrepreneur, a solopreneur starting out, Sherif, what would it be?
Fail fast. And move on. I tell our people all the time that the day they get to perfection is the day that I politely tell them that they should go find a perfect company. We need to be making mistakes, and we need to be making mistakes often, but we need to make them fast and move on. And don't repeat those same mistakes. You know, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to fail, but just do it quickly and move on. Don't run into that trap of trying to, it sounds cliche, but doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. If it doesn't work, move on, try something different.
No, that is so true. And that's a great piece of advice. I love that. I mean, I read something the other day about that. And it just, I mean, it's always something I say, if you fail, it doesn't matter what you're in. If you're a professional athlete, if you're in business, you just, move on, learn from it and grow from it. I always say failure is the start of your next success. So that's something that I always tell my clients.
Yeah,
I really appreciate Sherif you coming on today. Thank you so much. Taking time out of your schedule. I know you're busy and sharing your story. It's an awesome story. So thank you again.
No, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me. And maybe we'll chat again in the future.
I'm sure we will. Again, if you have any questions, once we start posting this and you see it later on, please feel free to ask them and we will reach and respond to them. Again, thank you to Rogers Insurance. If you would like more advice, please go to www.rogersinsurance.ca/Jade and you're eligible for some discounts to my listeners. So again, thank you, Sherif, and I hope everybody has a great day. Bye-bye.
Thanks.